Welcome to the 5 at 5. Still not recovered from that loss yesterday. Honestly, this one has got to me. Still not going to throw my toys out the pram and still going to keep the faith. But this loss really, really hurt. Like Mikel Arteta said in his post-match comments, worst performance of the season, and I do not disagree with him. Maybe it shows that actually we're quite a consistent team, and a 2-1 away London derby defeat is considered such a bad result for Arsenal. And of course it's a bad result, but it's because we set our standards high up at the top of the table. So when this happens, it is going to feel bad. Let's get into the 5 at 5 and figure out what happened yesterday and what lessons are there to be learned from the game. Number one, shot analysis. So I was thinking, look, yesterday I think we had 13 shots, only 2 on target, or 2 or 3 on target. Previous game against West Ham, 30 shots, 8 on target, and it's not good enough. It's a really, really poor percentage. So I thought, let me look at what the season so far is saying and how we compare to our rivals in shots versus shots on target. Not even bringing goals into it. I'm just saying shots versus shots on target. And Arsenal, we have had 325 shots. That's second in the league. Only Liverpool have had more shots. But out of those 325 shots, only 110 have gone on target, which is the 5th best in the league. So we've had the 2nd most shots, but only the 5th most shots on target. So we're sort of underperforming there. Now, in terms of percentage, that's 34% of our shots end up going on target. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out, basically 1 in 3. Now, actually, what's interesting is the league leaders, who might go 5 points clear of us if they beat Newcastle tonight, they have got the same percentage as we do. 34% of their shots also go on target. But when we look a bit wider and we know that Liverpool, they've got some players like Darwin Núñez who typically will miss big chances and is a bit erratic in front of goal. Now, when we look at some of the other teams, you've got Brighton, 42%, Man City, 41%. Then you've got 38% for Spurs and Newcastle, 37% for Villa and Chelsea. Chelsea, 37%. So that's a decent improvement on what we've got at 34%. And they've got Nicholas Jackson up front, who's probably even worse than Darwin Núñez maybe in terms of hitting the target. He needs a gilt-edged chance to hit the back of the net. So it does make you realise that, yes, of course, there is a problem there for Arsenal. Just because Liverpool happen to be the league leaders and they're also on 34%, but they get more shots on goal anyway. So by default, they'll get more shots on target, keeping the same proportion as we do. We need to fix that up. Our shots need to be much more clinical. They need to test the opposition goalkeeper a lot more. We keep on missing good chances. We keep on missing big chances. And it's an area that needs massive improvement. I won't go into what we can do about it because I think we need to add a striker in January. Let's see what happens. It's January, fingers crossed. Number 2, typical Arsenal fans with the meltdown. People calling into question Mikel Arteta after a couple of defeats, after a poor run of 5 games, albeit, yes, I know 5 games is not a short period of time. It is a decent spell of games. But ultimately, in that time, we've had 1 win, a credible draw away at Liverpool as well. And, against West Ham, bit of a freak game, given how much of the ball we had. This 1 game against Fulham has been the worst of the lot. Newcastle, obviously, really difficult place to go and controversial circumstances as well. But now already fans are throwing their toys out the pram, calling into question Mikel Arteta's abilities, and rubbishing loads of our players. I should have expected it. I hoped it wouldn't happen, but I should have expected it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say it again. Believe in the boys. We can turn this around. Football changes very, very quickly. So let's see what happens. January is an interesting month with FA Cup coming back into it. So let's see what happens. But please, come on. Don't embarrass yourselves. Don't start saying Mikel Arteta can't do it, he's a waste of space. Don't start slating some of the players that we've got who have done so well for us this season. Keep the faith and hopefully the boys will turn it around. Number 3, a 48-game record is now gone. And it was 1 day short of being 2 years to the day. New Year's Day 2022 was the last time Arsenal took the lead in a Premier League game and then went on to lose. That day, it was Man City. And it was Bukayo Saka again that day that put us in the lead. Since then, we have had 48 games where we've taken the lead and we have not lost one of those. 42 wins out of those 48 and 6 draws. But unfortunately, against Fulham, by losing that game after taking the lead, we have now lost that 48 game record where we were on a streak of scoring first and making sure we don't lose. And yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, that last time it happened was New Year's Day 2022 and the next time it happened was New Year's Eve 2023. So almost 2 years' time. But hey, we go again. We start the run again. Hopefully in our next Premier League game against Palace, we take the lead and we go and convert that to a win. Number 4, Premier League break. Now, maybe it's a good thing, given the run of games that we are on. Our run of results recently is not very good at all, that we have a break in Premier League action. Our next game is 20 days away when we play Crystal Palace at home. And Crystal Palace, only 2 teams in the whole of the league have scored less goals than they have. So maybe it's a really, really good thing that we've got a bit of a break from the Premier League. Yes, we've got FA Cup action and we've got Liverpool no less, so that's not going to be easy. But in terms of our Premier League campaign, perhaps we do just need to relieve the pressure by saying, do you know what, let's not think about it, focus on different things and come back in over 3 weeks' time, or about 3 weeks' time, see what we can do. And the good thing is it's Palace and it's at home. Now, when I say only 2 teams have scored less goals in the Premier League than Palace, I know I'm worried that they're just going to turn it on in this one-off game against Arsenal, but hopefully it's not going to be a potential banana skin, and hopefully it's exactly the sort of game that Arsenal need to get back to winning ways in the Premier League. What do you reckon? Is it a banana skin where Arsenal was expected to win and Palace is just going to shut up shop and play on the counter, pretty much like West Ham did, or are we just going to go back to what we usually do and dispatch teams at home? I, for one, think it's a great thing that we've got this break in the Premier League right now, and the type of opposition that we're coming up against when we return, I think is exactly what we need. Fingers crossed, when we play them, we do the business. And after that, in January, we've got Nottingham Forest away. 2 games, very winnable, and hopefully by the end of January, we'll look at it and say we've got our Premier League campaign back on track. Fingers crossed. Number 5, same message from me. Back the boys. Be a proper fan. Don't be naive. Did you think this was going to be easy? Did you think this Premier League campaign would not have any blips? Why are we going to be the team that just coast our way to a title when Man City are struggling at points, when Liverpool are struggling at points? Look at the small clubs, Chelsea and Man United. Look at them. Newcastle, been battered recently. Tottenham, they've had their struggles. Why should it just be Arsenal that don't struggle? It was always going to happen. So back the boys. I was saying about West Ham fans that I can't believe some of their fans are calling David Moyes into question. Now I'm having to say it about Arsenal fans. After everything that Mikel Arteta has done, how much he's proved himself as a very astute manager, people are now turning against him. And they're turning against the players. I totally get the conversation around resting players, a bit of squad rotation to freshen things up and all of that. But please, don't embarrass yourselves. Back the boys. Show people that you know what a league campaign entails. It's going to be up, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. It's not going to be a straight line. Keep the faith. Back the boys. All right, thank you for watching the 5 at 5. I will see you after we take on Liverpool in the FA Cup. It's going to be a lovely, big game with a good away allocation as well. I love cup competitions and big games. Don't get me wrong, I'd rather not have drawn Liverpool in the 3rd round of the FA Cup, but that's the cards that we've been dealt. Now let's go and win the hand. Take care. I'll see you soon. Free Palestine. Happy New Year, everyone.